just reached out to Corey. There he is. What's up, Corey? How you doing?
How's it going, Bob?
Going good for you, huh? Are
Yeah,
you you're back at home?
yeah. Just been trying to recoup after Worlds.
Oh yeah, how'd that go at Worlds?
Pretty good overall. Just one bad last round.
Yeah. How did those? Well, I was watching some of the Worlds in Emporia. It wasn't quite as windy as a lot of people thought or have experienced out in Emporia. Had you played in Emporia before?
Yeah, I played DDO first time this year, and it was brutal with the
Yeah.
wind. I mean, that time I think it was April or May, and it was like tornado season, literally.
Yeah.
And like, why are we out there? Like that's what it seemed.
I remember living there. I lived there for about 6 years, and yeah, there were days where it's like, why are we out here even playing? And
Yeah.
this is not even fun. Watching your super overstable disc just flip over. So anyway, so the point for as we people join in here into the live interview here, just let people know that we're super excited to have Corey Ellis as part of the Idio Sports team in partnership with him to get him with some disc golf shoes, and we're just super excited about it. We know that uh, just learning more about your story, Corey. I watched some of the videos, your video interviews, and your never give up attitude, your competitiveness and everything. We were just when I heard that you were going to be part of the team, I was super excited because I knew it was going to be a great partnership. So, but just for some of the people that haven't have heard of you or at least don't know your disc golf story, kind of tell a little bit about how you got started in disc golf.
Well, my dad took me out when I was just a kid, and I was 5 years old in '99, and just kind of played off and on for years until I got a little older, and uh, we have that competitive itch to compete at anything I do, and Dad the same way. So it kind of gave, I wanted to eventually get good. And that was just the main goal. Uh, so we joined the PDJ, I think,
Uh-huh.
and that started playing tournaments, and I just moved up the ranks all the way from junior to rec to intermediate, advanced, and eventually to open. Uh,
What
it,
kind of what made you decide? I mean, what was kind of the what made you go, hey, I'm going to go pro in this? What kind of got in your head to make you do that so quickly?
it's a pretty funny story, actually. I was at Chris Brown's house in Myrtle Beach. It was C tier in January. So in West Virginia, it was really cold. So we went all the way down to the beach to try to get, play a tournament and just hang out with some friends. And Cam Todd was there staying with everybody at the
Uh-huh.
house. And back then, we actually, there was like, I don't know, 15 people there hanging out that night before the tournament. And we had a big putting competition. I actually won. I beat Cam Todd in a putting competition.
Oh, nice.
And so we started talking after that, and I was telling him that I was playing in advance, and he's like, "Well, why? You should be playing pro. You just beat me." Like, and I was just like, "Well, I don't know." I talked to Dad, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not paying for you to play." Oh, he's like, and Cam actually paid the difference in the fee to for me to play in open, and I ended up getting third the first time I ever played pro. So that
Nice.
was pretty cool experience and stuff, and get to hang out with those guys. And but that's
Nice.
pretty how it happened. And then from then on out, I just kind of kept playing pro, even though I probably shouldn't have, just because the mental side of it wasn't there yet. I was still pretty much an am, just trying to play pro, not cashing, and you know.
So what? Tell me. So it's interesting you say that about the mental side. I hear that a lot about the mental game of disc golf. So as you were, and I noticed on the PDJ that there was a few years that you played am events or as an am, then you played as in the pro division. What is kind of the difference in mentality going from am to pro?
Well, in am, you're not playing for money. That's number one.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of playing for prizes, and not to say that there's no pressure, but it's definitely a different kind of pressure, I would say. And it's important that you play AM long enough to learn how to win. And that's pretty much what I thought I did but probably should have went and played some bigger events to get used to, the larger competition, instead of just B tiers and stuff. When I am, isn't it's not going and winning AM Nats. So really just becoming more consistent ends up being the mental side, and that it just takes time. It really does. It takes experience. You got to get out there and you got tournaments. There's no shortcut to it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great point you bring up as far as experience. That's what a lot of people don't understand, that it just takes, you got to put the time in, put the work in, get that experience in, because until you play on the big stage or the big tournaments or against some of those top players, you don't know what it feels like until you actually do it. And even mentioning that, this year you've been on some chase card footage, some other coverage as far as video. How much, we all know that adds much pressure, that adds more pressure having the cameras on you, knowing that there's thousands of people watching you back home. But tell us in your own words, in your own experience, what does that do for you as far as your mental state, and how do you approach it with your game is when you know you're going to have a much bigger audience watching you?
Well, when you know you're going to be like a chase card or a lead card, you got to play the same. You got to play your ability of what got you. And the only way to do that is just accept the fact that there's going to be all these people there and cameras on you, and just forget about them. Like they can be distracting until I mean, honestly, you got to get used to playing with it. So like your first couple of times people get on camera, it's nerve-wracking. It really is. I mean, I remember for me, I was so nervous, it just, I couldn't help the fact that, if someone's filming me, like, why would I do that, and it's pretty cool to see I've honestly a lot more comfortable with it now, like at D-Glow, especially coming down the stretch when I had to all I saw was the basket and, the fairway. Didn't even pay attention to the fact that there was thousands of people there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, okay, so let's jump to, or for some people that may have just jumped on board, we're here to announce Corey Ellis being part of Idio Sports, a partnership with Corey, and we're super excited about that. But tell us, how did you first get introduced to the Syncrasy disc golf shoes?
I believe I saw somebody wearing them. I can't remember who it was, and I was super interested because I'm like, finally an actual disc golf shoe, and it's like, I'm surprised it's taken for someone to just make one.
Yeah.
And I met Craig at Las Vegas this year at the beginning of the season, and super nice, and I really liked where it was as far as where he wanted to be with the product, and the thought behind it, the tread, and how it's lighter weight and even waterproof. All huge factors for me. A disc golf shoe, because I've tried pretty much everything. I started with Keens, and they're too heavy, and bulky, and even I used Adidas for majority of what's been my career, and I've always had my feet ache around when I play with those Adidas. And when I started using these, the demo pair, I realized that my feet just stopped hurting, and it's just amazing. They're light and comfortable, and the fact that you're not in pain after every round is huge to me.
Well, yeah, especially when you've got, playing a full weekend of disc golf, and you've got, at least 2 to 3 rounds, maybe sometimes 4 rounds you got to play. I can see where that not having pain after your rounds is very beneficial as far as recovering and getting ready for the next round. Some of the things that we really love, and we've heard from people that are really like about the shoe, is, of course, the grip. Do you feel like it gives you good grip on the tee pad and out on the grass and the courses out there?
Absolutely. I mean, I may have only slipped once or twice in the 4 months I think I've been using these shoes, and it's always been on wet grass, and it's probably some type of slope or something, and I've never really slipped on a tee pad. And I know I've used like the ones that Ricky wears, the Wild Horses. I tried those out, and they're just not for me. You know, some shoes are built different for different people. Some people have great grip with them, and not for me. And I really, really like the way these grip keypads.
Yeah. Another aspect, or I guess you could say technology that when I first started learning about the shoes was the X-Flex, where it kind of helps you with your drive and your putting. Do you feel that that has something that has helped as far as your form in your drives and putting?
Uh, Definitely, the shoe moves with your foot instead of trying to stay rugged like a trail running shoe, like most of what people use. They're not made to. They're made more like a boot, not so much like a. And these are a lot like a tennis.
Awesome. And then, of course, you mentioned the waterproof, where I see that's a lot of questions that people ask on there. I mean, that's something you don't even have to really go into, because it's like, yes, waterproof is great. We know if you have an early morning round that dew on the grass can be, can get into your shoe. If you don't have a waterproof shoe on, it gets into your socks. And that just, for me at least, it wears my feet out more if I feel that wetness. And then obviously if it's been raining or something like that, or while you're playing in the rain, it's good to have that confidence to know that your feet are going to stay dry for sure. But you did mention the lightweight of the shoe, and I've noticed that too with other trail shoes, is that they're heavy. And I used to have a pair of Solomons, and that was one of the big things I remember, is that how heavy they felt. So you feel like the lightweight comfort fit of the shoe really helps with, or at least helps you with the endurance of a round and recovery after the round?
Oh, absolutely. I think it helps. Yeah, I mean, we need to be light on our feet. Our footwork is crucial in disc golf. And if you're not light on your feet, then you're, have that explosive.
That's awesome. So let's kind of transition more about your disc golf story, because I've heard of you, I've watched you and stuff, but I don't know a lot about you. So, but I want to learn. So I want to learn a little bit more about you, as far as our audience as well. Tell me, you had mentioned that you actually, and you said it was interesting that a disc golf, it's actually a disc golf shoe made for disc golf, not some other company slapping on a disc golf logo or something like that and just kind of trying to make it act as a disc golf shoe. But I had heard that you were like, one of the things you had wanted to achieve was to be sponsored by a shoe company. Is that true? Did I hear that true?
I mean, yeah. I mean, even going back to when I just got off, as far as tournaments go, I was also playing a lot of basketball. And I remember just playing the 2Ks, like you get like shoe sponsorship to like create your own shoe. And I was like, oh, like that's the dream, become an athlete, get a shoe sponsor. Same thing with like skateboarding. You play like and get your sponsor, and it's just like that. Like that's goes along with being an athlete, like a sponsored athlete, like a professional athlete. It's like it's surreal to me, and I'm so grateful to have this opportunity. Have it.
Awesome. So that's part of your dream, but another, you've said that you feel like you are achieving some of your dreams in disc golf in general. What advice would you give to someone out there that's wanting to go pro, or is pro, and wanting to make disc golf more part of their life? What's some of the lessons that you've learned that you can kind of pass on to those?
Uh, Never give up. Literally, you cannot give up on a round. Even my last round of Worlds, nothing seemed to be going right, and no matter what I was doing. But I never once didn't give my full effort on every single shot that I throw. And I think that a lot of people will give up on a round. I mean, a majority of people really, like that I've seen. And it's just like you have to get into that it's not over till it's over. I mean, you can get upset at yourself later, but now's the time. You got to perform, and just don't ever lose that focus of, achieve goal of completing the round without ever giving up. That's the main thing I would say. That and putting, you gotta practice putting.
Yeah. All right. Let's give our audience something really tangible to take away from this interview, because we know that practice and wanting to up your level of disc golf game is super important to a lot of our audience. So give us one thing, and you're known for your explosive power off the drive. Give us one thing, one piece of advice that you would give somebody to work on as far as their drive.
I would say work on, it's people say I'm known for throwing standstill, and it's because I don't want to foot fault sometimes. And also, like a hill, it's easier for me to get my weight involved in the shot. So your weight goes back to your hips. So if you learn to throw a standstill and get your hips engaged in your shot, then learn your run up, you'll be able to throw more consistently and further because your your timing is more proper.
Got you. And then, of course, you have an excellent stats on the Circle 1X putting. What do you think the secret is to having to have good putting?
Don't think about missing. Don't think about anything but that disc going in the basket. And there's putting. It's all practice. Uh, Growing up, one of the main things I struggled with was putting. I could throw the disc, 500 feet, but I couldn't make the putt on a par four. I would get it in the miss, and it drove me crazy. And it's embarrassing, when you can throw the disc that far and you can't make the putt. It's like, what's the point? Drive for,
Yeah,
it's true. So
that's true.
you gotta practice. I mean, you have to practice putting. Stick to one routine, whatever it is, and practice for 20 minutes at a time, with 15 minutes in between, sessions.
Yeah,
Your putting will increase your percentage.
nice. What would you say is when you practice your putting and you've got your 15 minutes, 20 minutes before your round, or even if it's a Friday afternoon or whatever, and you've got short on time, what are the main distances of putting do you concentrate on?
Inside usually around 30 feet to 25 feet.
Yeah.
Never really much shorter than that. And at the most, I'll step back to like a 40 footer, but you're not a high percentage putt outside of that. So, like, if one or two go in a round for anybody, it's fantastic.
Nice. Okay, so tell people, or let us, or what do you have planned now? What's the next tournament? What's going on for the rest of the year for you?
Well, we have the playoff series coming up, GMC, and
Mhm.
I'll be leaving, I think, Sunday to head up to Vermont. Like 14 hours. It's a long way. But and, and it's all, this is the most important time of the year, Worlds and then the playoff events and then USCG the championship. This is it. This is time to buckle down,
Yeah. All right. Well, before we end this, we'll give a couple minutes to see if you guys have questions, anybody in the audience have questions for Corey about the shoes or about his tournament or about his play, put it in the comments and I'll see if I can get those questions for Corey. What is your off season going to look like as far as practice or jobs or whatnot? What does off season look like for Corey in 2022?
I'm not entirely sure what the plan is. I have to talk with my fiance. We get the week after the Pro Tour Championships, so after that we'll figure it out. That's the thing to figure out right now is the wedding. So it's a hectic time, and I was supposed to play in Pittsburgh this weekend. So I took the time off just to make sure we had to get some stuff done for the wedding. So, but the off season, Ricky and I are talking about training together. Hopefully that works out because we can really help each other like we do in our practice rounds to
That'd be
figure
great.
things out. And he's a good influence,
Oh yeah.
because he eats so well and sticks to the game plan of becoming a better athlete. So
He definitely does the approach of overall everything, every aspect of what's going on with him, health wise, mental wise.
would you say?
No, I was just saying that Ricky, yeah, he definitely takes an overall approach when it comes to his performance level. So it looks like we have a couple questions coming in. So let's see. What is your PR distance from a standstill?
From a standstill, Uh, over 500 feet, I think. Never really completely, but I've thrown a disc a long way from the standstill before.
Wow. Let's see. Griff wants to know what's the best way to develop your forehand.
Practice your wrist because it all ends up becoming like a whip motion, and your wrist, if you don't have your involved properly, then you're not going to throw the sidearm right. It's really learning how to spin the disc before you can throw it. So learn how to spin it with a sidearm, you'll be able to improve pretty
Yes, spin is definitely a big factor. Let's see. Someone wants to know how have your Idios been holding up during your tour?
well. Craig gave me the prototype pair, which I know he said the glue isn't quite what on the production runs, and that was at OTB, and I just retired them before the Worlds, so they lasted a long time. And I mean, I could still play in kind of coming apart right now, but the new ones are holding up great. I mean, they're fantastic. They seem, and Sexton told me that his lasted from winter until like mid-season.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not playing as much as I am. I'm playing almost every day.
Yeah, you guys are rough. People think back home they're rough on shoes. No, these touring pro players are rough on shoes, playing every day, multiple times a day. So that's awesome that they last that long. That's great. Okay, well, it looks like that's it for the questions. And people, obviously, if you want to follow Corey's story, you can on his Instagram. Should be attached here, but I think, if I remember right, it's Chain Antagonist.
Yep.
On there, you can find there and there. And then, of course, find your name, Corey Ellis, on Facebook and follow his story there. Pre-order number 2 is available. You can pre-order the next set of Idio Syncrasies, and you'll be able to go to the link in the bio of this Instagram, and you'll be able to see Corey Ellis's link in that way, because one of the things we want to do with our players is we want to help them while they're out on tour. And so if you use Corey's link, then he gets credit for that purchase. So if you're thinking about purchasing the shoes, make sure you get out there, check out that link, purchase the shoes. And I believe the last update showed that they'd be ready by about October. So this first run had some a little bit of bumps in the road as far as getting them out, but people are starting to receive them right now, and people are already loving their shoe. And just like Corey mentioned, it's such a great thing, an exciting thing that these are shoes made by a disc golfer purposely for disc golfers. Everything, every little thing, the X-Flex, the high-rise walls, the power plant, every little part of the shoe had the disc golfer in mind, and these are exactly what disc golfers need to help with their, and like Corey said, the comfort level. That's the biggest thing, is at the end of the day, your feet are nice and comfortable, lightweight and everything, so that you can be ready for the next round, or just be ready for your next round of disc golf when you're out there. So, all right, Corey, well, I appreciate everything, and I appreciate you being on the interview with us. And, of course, we wish you the best of luck out on tour. Hopefully, maybe when I'm out at some of those events, maybe I'll be able to see you, and maybe we can do some work with the shoes and stuff like that. So I think that'd be kind of exciting.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Anything else? Last thing you want to share with our audience before we take off?
You can find all links to help support my tour in my story, or the information on my profile on Instagram. If anybody's interested in any disc or anything, or swatch bag, Idio shoes, all that it's greatly appreciated if you use that. I just got a shout out to Molly. I know she's probably watching this, and thank you for everything that you do. And my sponsors, of course, Discraft, Circle One, Squatch, Idio. All you guys are awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Bobby, for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations on the wedding. That's awesome. And I'm excited to watch more of you out there playing, and more of you taking your game to the next level, because I know you've got a big, promising future ahead of you. And I know you're going to put in the work, and I think that's fantastic. So, all right, guys, we'll see you on the next live video if we do one down the road. But anyway, hopefully we'll see more of you guys picking up those Idio. If you have a pair of Idio shoes already, or if you got some coming, make sure you post about it and tag us here on Instagram, so we can share your experience that you're having with the shoes with other people. So, all right, we'll see you, Corey. Have a good afternoon.
See you, man.